you've always thought as a white guy that there wasn't a movement for you. You were probably told as a white liberal guy, add that in there, you were probably told that a racialized movement isn't for you and that you don't get to have one of those because your entire racialized movement has been the Western world for the past 250 years to 500, depending on how far back you have grievances with. Correct grievances, of course. But now that White Dudes for Harris, is in full effect, now that that glass ceiling's been broken, we can all look at that campaign and say, hey, this works for me. This is how I feel. This is exactly what, I identify exactly with what this probably 22-year-old marketing graduate thinks appeals to white guys in the year 1998. And that's what we have. And I'd like to bring up that ad for you guys. Brian Metzger, who's not Kurt Metzger, says White Dudes for Harris is spending $10 million running this digital ad on YouTube and streaming services in Michigan, Wisconsin, PA. I think we're all pretty sick of hearing how much we suck every time you go online. It's the same story. We're the problem. Is a quote from somewhere. I'm not sure. Let's play the ad. And I have a feeling we're all going to relate to it. Because why wouldn't we? We've been looking for a movement, a left-wing movement, to come together around in favor of a black woman. It makes a lot of sense.
Hey, white dudes. So, I think we're all pretty sick of hearing how much we suck. Every time you go online, it's the same story. We're the problem. And yeah, some white dudes are. Trump and all his MAGA buddies are out there making it worse, shouting nonsense in their stupid red hats and acting like they speak for us when they don't.
All right, pause here, obviously. It started off correct. You're being told you suck. And then the correct response I'm getting from the Kamala ad is, I don't suck. Other white people suck. The people that suck aren't actually... I guess it's kind of a good message if we can break character here for a second. Some white people suck. You shouldn't think you suck. It's actually a message that's saying, racism against white guys, saying that they're the problem in society, is wrong. But at the same... It's interesting that they would then say Kamala Harris is the choice, even though that's where that stuff comes from.
All they've ever done is screw us over. But if you're not on the MAGA train, where do you go? Isn't it just swapping out one crappy option for another? Then it hit me. This isn't about picking teams. It's about who's got a plan that's gonna make life better for me and my family. So I've been doing my own research and decided to check out Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And before you jump down my throat, they're actually talking to guys like us. No lectures, no BS. Just real solutions that protect our freedoms and help us take care of the people who matter. And honestly, I think Harris and Walz are the ones to make that happen. End of the day, you're your own man. It's your call. But if anyone gives you crap about it, tell them it's none of their damn business.
So it's a very interesting ad. It doesn't make much sense, and here's why. So some white guys are bad, is what the commercial's saying. We concede that, and those are all the Trump guys. In this New Yorker, Italian working class guy's voice, he tells you, some white guys are bad. They're all Trump guys. They've never done anything for us. And then he turns around and says, I've done my own research. Therefore, you probably don't have to. And I've come up with the idea that the Democrats, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, are the ones who will get you out of this. They show a grocery bill, they show family, they show military. So judging by that, you would think that the people who created this commercial would say that the Democratic Party is actually the one for the military. They're actually the ones for keeping families together, promoting families, and lowering costs of living. Of course, none of that is true. Now, while the Democrats may love war, more so than Republican supporters, a lot of the Republicans in office do love war, but the average Democrat supporter supports the war in Ukraine, supports the war in Israel and Gaza. Gaza must be free. They must fight back, right? They're more in line with the war hawk policies and the average Republican voter. And then the family part, of course, the average liberal and Democrat voter doesn't believe in that. They say you shouldn't have children because of climate change. You should have tons of abortion. Being alone at 55 and being Chelsea Handler is awesome. And also, of course, at the same time, they think the military is too macho, it's too harmful, even while supporting wars. Stay with me here. And that the military type of person is actually not a good person. They don't believe in America at all in many cases. So to then say that that party is actually for them in the New York or Boston accent, which is actually a party that is so obviously against the person whose voice it is, and so obviously against the people that they've shown in the video, Black Lives Matter does not support the nuclear family. I would say that the BLM is obviously more in line with Democrats, and Democrats have more obviously aligned themselves with movements like BLM. They say this is actually, you've got it all wrong, you've got it all in reverse. I'm a New Yorker tough guy with a gravelly voice. Hey, you should believe in Waltz and Harris because they're actually the ones that will get your energy prices down, your food prices down, make the military stronger, make families stronger, even though we have 4 years already of showing that they are doing the opposite of that. You should still vote for them anyways. Then at the end it says, hey, if they have a problem with that, tell them it's none of their damn business, which means don't talk about it. Because what might happen if you talk about it is you might be convinced that you are incorrect. If this guy indeed did his own research, which he did not do on any of those topics that he's saying, they're actually the better team in that. So it starts off with a little bit of an admittance there that it's wrong to categorize all white guys as being the political problem, no matter what side you're on. And then it goes, actually, it's just the Trump supporters that are the problem. White guys who are Trump supporters are the problem, and they've been screwing us over. No specifics there. But this is how they think men think. This is why the majority of men do not vote for Democrats, because Democrats are inherently a more feminine point of view. Everything about your feelings, you can't be mean, and the actual results don't matter as much as long as you have good intentions, as long as you say you have good intentions. Appealing to the emotions appeals to a younger and more female audience. So when they say this and they say at the end, tell them that's none of their damn business, you're saying don't talk to them because other people might rebuke what you're saying. And that is sort of the Democrat way, is say all these things, be very definitive in these things, and say you've done all the research, but don't actually talk about it. We can't actually have a discussion. So that right there at the end is the icing on the cake of how the Democrats operate. We have all the answers. It's not actually us that's the problem. These specific white people over here are the problem, and I know everything that I'm talking about. I know I have the right choice. Ignore the other stuff that says completely the opposite. Ignore your instinct to say that, the Democrats aren't the party of family and the military. I don't think any left-wing person who's genuinely left-wing would say that or any person who's not a left-wing Democrat, a communist, a fascist, a Republican, a constitutionalist, a nationalist, any person, I would wager to say over 90% of them, if you ask them, is the Democrat Party the best party for supporting families like the nuclear family and the military? I don't think more than 5 people out of 100 would say yes, they are. But they say they are, so you should believe them, but don't talk about it at all. That's the great part at the end there.
You're your own man. It's your call. But if anyone gives you crap about it, tell them it's none of their damn business.
Paid for by Beige Rainbow Pack, whatever that means. It's got the very, if this was 2002 and nobody knew anything about politics and they said do something that appeals to Gen X men who, make their point by swearing, like Michael Rappaport, Dean Blundell if you're in Canada, Joe Scarborough, people like that, where they try to make this, Bill Burr, they make this really bold, they make this statement and they curse in it and they say these guys are fucking idiots. What Bill Burr does on every podcast. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just a guy. You can't. I don't know what I'm talking about, so you can't know what you're talking about. Neither of us are experts. Nobody can know. So they make this profanity-laden diatribe where they call somebody stupid, but then admit that they're stupid to disarm people. Because if I'm saying I'm stupid, then it must lend some credence to me calling you stupid. And then at the end they say they don't actually know and they don't want to talk about it. That's what this commercial is. The very Gen X, loud, I'm stupid, but you're also stupid. Nobody can actually know anything point of view to appeal to men. We're all stupid, so you might as well just go with this choice, and I don't have any reason for it, but I'm going to tell you, white guys suck. I get it. We all suck, but it's actually the Trump white guys, so you should just believe what I'm saying here, because I'm stupid and you're stupid, but I've actually done the research, so just believe me. This is the best they could come up with, like it was 20 years ago. I don't see where any guys that are younger than 40-ish, 45-ish this would appeal to. But if you're the type of fan who listens to, Michael Rappaport, you think he's hilarious. And like I said, if you're in Canada, Dean Blundell, you think he's hilarious. Joe Scarborough, if you think he's hilarious. Who's the other crazy guy who yells at everybody who's on MSNBC? Bill Burr, if you think he's hilarious, which he is funny, but when he talks about issues, he does sound like that. If that's the type of person, then maybe you'll sway to that. But more likely, the people that they're reaching out to are the people who are in the middle somewhere, and they don't really care about voting. They don't pay attention to politics. That's who they're hoping they will pull in with that piece. Now, who is a white guy for Kamala Harris? We can assume those are trans women, excuse me. And at a Matt Gaetz event, Tim Waltz, Matt Gaetz, and I think I saw Tim Young here. Tim runs his mouth. He's a comedian, but I haven't really followed him before. I know he's married to another influencer girl, but he's a comedian. I never really watched it. Maybe I should. He's got a big following, though, 1 million. To me, a cryptic. Not cryptic, an under-the-radar 1 million followers. That's a huge audience. I'm not ragging on him for it, but he posted on X, an obese trans person tried to storm the stage during a Matt Gaetz speech today. They were immediately removed. Wait for Gaetz at the end.
Dude, this is a very strange individual, dude.
That is a morbidly obese guy in a skirt. I don't know if he's wearing anything underneath. He's got fishnet stockings, a wig on, and he's got the body of Kyle Gass from Tenacious D.
Oh my God! What is happening?
Come on, y'all.
Yes, that's
Oh, for real? I thought it was a joke.
Yeah. Real.
Was that Liz Cheney?
Of course, Liz Cheney is one of those. I think she's a Republican who is very anti-Trump. Let's see if we can get that freeze frame of the guy again. People thought it was a joke when this person stormed on stage. I mean, that's a white guy for Kamala right there. Is that not who the average white guy for Kamala is? Without it, not these guys who are yelling about it who don't actually know about politics, and they just see they're just used to calling people racist in the 2000s to appeal to people and say white people suck, that sort of person. Not that person. That person could be easily persuaded given the correct facts and evidence. They would actually take the time to think about it. White guy that plays hockey and doesn't really know anything about it, but he just doesn't like the vibes. Or, a black guy who just hangs around with his friends, and, the general sentiment on TV that they watch is that, Trump's a racist guy. These people, these regular guys who are in their 40s, they can be reasoned with. The true white guys for Kamala are guys like that. They want to be a hot chick. They're trans. They work at a budding indie video game company that hasn't yet gotten that ESG contract yet, where they make a bad game with trannies in it and then they get shut down because there's no sales. They used to work at Vice and Vox and now this, until they got caught for sexual harassment. They worked at CNN, and then they refused to come into work because, they can do the same job remotely. Why won't you let me stay at home forever? Those are the white guys for Harris and Walz. The white guys that are actually just everything they do is to impress women. That's the true Democratic voter. And I have repeated this before because I feel like it's something that people need to understand. The person that you are typically against, and is not necessarily, a Democrat, they're often, if there was a different party in the U.S., they'd vote for a further left party. They'd be an AOC party voter. In Canada, they have the NDP. That's who they vote for. In other countries in Europe, they have a further left, the Labour Party, and a further left party that they vote for. They're in their early 20s. They're an early 20 college guy who said, he looked at Che Guevara shirts, he liked them. He looked at, the history of Central and South America and American intervention in the drug war there, and he's anti-America now. That's one group. And then the other group is the guys who are 30 plus that, they have zero idea how to talk to women. So the best thing they can do is be a woman or just agree with everything they say. That is who the white guys for Harris are. That is the actual definition of a white male Democrat voter, who is sincere.
Turn it up, Jordan.